While we're talking about personal development and letting go of limitations, here are what I consider to be the biggest self-imposed limitations any man or woman has ever had to deal with. First, procrastination. Procrastination is particularly life-threatening because when we put something off, it doesn't seem at the moment to be all that important. At the end of the day, if you have let a few things slide, it doesn't seem like such a bad day. However, enough of those days piled up will make a disastrous year and eventually a disastrous life. Our inability to come to grips with a natural tendency to procrastinate will surely send us drifting in the wrong direction. Before you reach the final session of this program, you'll have left procrastination behind. If you're still troubled by it, you'll have discovered that it's simply too costly to put up with any longer. Besides, you'll be too excited about where you're going to postpone the activities taking you there. Self-imposed limitation number 2, blame. All of us have blamed others for our troubles from time to time. In fact, the tendency to blame someone or something goes back a long way. When there were only 2 people on earth, it wasn't long before they started blaming. The man said, "It was the woman. She got me into this." And the woman blamed the serpent. Blame seems to be one of those negative tendencies that just comes naturally. The ego striving to defend itself. Remember the list I came up with to explain why I wasn't doing well? One of the items that was high on my list was prices. I told Mr. Schoaf that my problem was everything costs too much. However, he soon set me straight on that by saying, "Mr. Rohn, that is not the problem. Let me tell you the real problem. You can't afford it. It's not it. If you keep dealing in its, you will always be broke, unhappy, and disillusioned because you will never have enough. Don't deal in its. Deal in you." When I finally learned to change my thinking from it to me, I changed my whole life. What a life-changing experience to finally meet someone who doesn't hesitate to put it on you or on your tendency to indulge in blame or procrastination. That is indeed a banner day when you meet someone who has learned how to skillfully and carefully attack the same problem that has kept you from doing very well, or kept you beneath your potential, or kept you off balance as to your own self-worth. It is so easy to mistake appearances for reality, to confuse the symptom with the real cause. Along with blame comes the third negative tendency we want to eliminate: excuses. Guess how many excuses we have? 1 million. And in the course of a lifetime, we will probably use them all, unless somebody finally comes along and blows all those excuses apart to make us come face to face with the real reasons for our current dilemma. Until that time, we will probably use another 1 million excuses to prevent ourselves from having $1 million. Here's one of the major questions I'll pose to you during this program. What are you going to do starting today that will make a difference in how your life works out? Good question, right? What are you going to do? See, if you don't do something starting today that will make a difference, guess what? It's going to be the same. And you can guess what the next 5 years are going to be like. Just look at the last 5. The next 5 years will be like the last 5 unless you, major key, make all the changes. Now here's another key question. What can you do starting today that will make a difference? That's a good question. What can you do? What can you do with economic chaos? What can you do with massive disappointment when it's all gone wrong? What can you do when it won't work, when you've run out of money, when you don't feel well, and it's all gone sour? What can you do? Well, let me give you the broad answer first. Here's what you can do. You can do the most remarkable things, no matter what happens. Hey, people can do incredible things, unbelievable things. A man can do the most amazing things with the most impossible circumstances. A woman can do the most remarkable things with the most disastrous circumstances. Hey, I found out kids can do remarkable things. That is, if they have remarkable things to do. I also found out if they don't have remarkable things to do, there's no telling what they'll do. Now here's why humans can do remarkable things. It's because they are remarkable. They are not dogs, animals, fish, birds, amoebas. Humans are different than any other creation. When a dog starts with weeds, he winds up with weeds, and the reason is because he's a dog. But that's not true with human beings. Human beings can turn weeds into gardens. That's one of the major differences being a human versus being a dog. Humans can turn nothing into something, pennies into fortune, disaster into success. And the reason they can do such remarkable things is because they are remarkable. So why not reach down inside of you and come up with some more of those remarkable human gifts? They're there waiting to be discovered and employed. And with those gifts, change anything for you that you wish to change. And I challenge you to do that because you can change. If you don't like how it is for you, change it. If it isn't enough, change it. If it doesn't suit you, change it. If it doesn't please you, change it. And I challenge you to do all that because you can change. See, you don't ever have to be the same after today, only by choice. If you don't like your present address, change it. You're not a tree. Now for the process of change, just a philosophical pronouncement won't do. It takes more than that, and it takes more than enthusiasm. I know we are hearing a lot about enthusiasm these days. We're still hearing the old cliche of the 30s, to be enthusiastic, you must act enthusiastic. But see, that won't help. I'm sorry. Hey, after you have leaped about, there are some things you've got to do, or it isn't going to change for you. You can get all excited about lifting 200 pounds until you get to the gym. Then you need a new excitement. And the new excitement is discipline, the major step to human progress. If there is one thing to get excited about, this is it. Get excited about your ability to make yourself do the necessary things to get a desired result. That's true excitement, not just optimistic panic. True excitement. Hey, what could you do starting today that would make a big difference in your life? Answer: no telling. What will some people do starting today? That's what's disappointing. It's not what we can do that's in question. What we can do is fantastic. What we can do is unbelievable. What we can do. It's what we settle for that's disappointing. Remember, the major question to ask on the job is not, what are you getting? The major question to ask is, what are you becoming? What we become is what leads to all the good things. And the habits we form, habits of mind, attitude, and behavior, are a dominant part of what we are becoming. Now, I understand as well as anyone that forming new habits doesn't come easy, but new habits will come when we change. It is usually not in one cataclysmic explosion, but rather by changing small pieces and parts at a time. I think that's how most of us change. We just keep nudging ourselves in the right direction, forming one or two new habits at a time, little by little, until finally we've made the turn. And this is where the good life comes from, those personal changes. There's nothing you can do with the seasons, but there's everything you can do with yourself. Don't wish for the winters to change. Wish for your own attitudes, strength, and capabilities to change in order to handle the winters. Really making personal changes calls for 10% inspiration and 90% perspiration. Wishing we could change is a beginning, but now wish must be translated into activity, and inspiration and affirmation must lead to discipline. We can affirm that we are going to change, but we must now form new habits and develop new disciplines for the affirmation to come true. Make sure your activities are not going in the opposite direction of your affirmation. Let's talk about some more parts of personal development. Here's the first one: physical side. Got to take care of yourself. Do not neglect to take care of yourself. Good phraseology used in the Bible, in my amateur way, but let me put it to you best I can. Here's what it says: treat your body like a temple. That's a good phrase, good suggestion. A temple meaning something you take extremely good care of. A temple. That's a good phrase. Treat your body like a temple, not a woodshed. A temple. Take good care. It's the only place you've got to live currently. Temple. Nutrition. My mother studied nutrition, passed it along to me, passed it along to my father, my children, my grandchildren. What a legacy that was. Learning to just take care of yourself. Key phrase. Some people don't do well because they don't feel well. They've got the gifts, they've got the skills. Maybe they just haven't taken care of themselves. They don't have the vitality. Key phrase. Vitality is a major part of success. Vitality. So take care of yourself. I know a guy that raises racehorses. I'm telling you, the guy feeds his horses better than he feeds himself. He's so careful how he feeds his horses. He's so careful what they eat. He's so careful that they get everything. And because of that extreme care, these are magnificent animals. They can run like the wind. But you ought to see this guy. 10 steps up a flight of stairs, and he's all out of breath. His horses can run like the wind, and he can hardly make it up the steps. Guy takes care of his animals better than he takes care of himself. Some people feed their dogs better than they feed their kids. Physical. Now, there's all kinds of parts to physical. Here's one. Appearance is part of the physical. Never have a second chance to make a first impression. Physical side. And here's some of the best advice on appearance I can give you. Comes from ancient script again. It says, God looks on the inside, people look on the outside. Isn't that good information? Now you say, well, people shouldn't judge you by how you look. Well, let me give you a clue. You can't deal in these shoulds and shouldn'ts. You'll be tipped over the rest of your life. Of course, when people get to know you, they'll judge you by more than what they see. But at first, they're gonna take a look. So, here's the best advice I can give you. Make sure the outside is a major reflection of what's going on inside. The physical side. A few minutes a day, stay healthy. A little bit of study on nutrition, stay healthy. Key. Now here's the next part of personal development, the spiritual part. I'm an amateur on the spiritual side. I do happen to believe that human beings are more than just an advanced life form, an advanced species of the animal kingdom. I do believe humans are a special creation. That's just my personal belief, and I don't ask you to buy it. But here's what I do ask you to buy. If you do believe in spirituality in any manner, here's my best advice. Study it and practice it. Do not neglect your values. Do not neglect your virtues. If you do believe in spirituality, my advice is study it and practice it. Don't let it go unstudied. Don't let it go unnourished, if you do believe. That's my best advice on the spiritual side. Now here's the third part, the mental side. Part of this personal development challenge is to develop mentally. Learn, study, grow, change. It's what schooling is all about. And the human development takes time, incredible amounts of time. That's why we've taken the time for this seminar. It just takes time. Some things you can't cover in a 20-minute speech. Can't cover in a little 5-minute talk. It takes time. For humans, it seems like more time than any other life form, human beings. Little wildebeest in Africa. Guess how much time it's got as soon as it's born to be able to run with the pack so it doesn't get eaten by the lions? Guess how much time it's got? A few minutes. As soon as the little wildebeest is born, tries to stand up, falls down. Its mother nudges it, gets it to stand back up, falls back down. Finally, on little shaky legs, it tries to nurse. Mother pushes it away. She moves away, so it can't nurse. Why? You can't nurse now. You got to develop some strength now. The lions. Falls down, gets back up, tries to nurse. Mother pushes it away. No, you got to get these legs strong. How much time have we got? Not much time. Mama wildebeest says, not much time. Not hours, not days, minutes. But the human baby, after 16 years, we're not sure. Unbelievable amount of time it takes. So it does take time for personal development. It does take time for spiritual development, physical development. But here's also what takes time, and that's your mental development. Feeding the mind, nourishing the mind. Some people read so little, they got rickets of the mind. They couldn't give you a good, strong argument as to their own personal beliefs. Here's one of the challenges we've got as parents, and that is to get our kids ready to debate the major life issues. They've got to get ready to debate. We've spent this last couple of decades debating communism. Communism taught capital belongs in the hands of the state. We've been teaching, no, capital belongs in the hands of the people. Communism taught. People are too dumb and stupid to know what to do with capital.
You got to take capital away from all the dumb, stupid people and give it to the all-knowing, all-wise state. And let the state run everything and let the people meekly show up for their work assignment. All glory to the state, communism taught. It says, well, is that right? No, all glory to the people. Let the state be the servant of its people, not the people be the servant of the state. I'm telling you, you got to be able to pick up those ideologies. You got to be able to pick up the philosophy. And here's the next part. You got to be able to defend it. If you can't defend your virtues and if you can't defend your values, I'm telling you, you'll fall prey. Philosophies that are not in your best interest. And we've got to help our teenagers, we've got to help our kids especially to be able to debate the major life issues, the political issues and the social issues, and the religious issues and the spiritual issues and the nutritional issues and the economic issues and all of the rest of the issues that are valuable for us to build the kind of equities we want. You got to get yourself ready. And one of the ways you got to get ready is not just physical and not just spiritual. You got to get ready mentally. And this is where Shof went to work on me, to be ready mentally, to develop the philosophy and also be able to defend your virtues and your values.